How's it going? Today is 23rd Wednesday, and we're gonna be taking a look at market. It's October. What kind of opportunities we can find? There's a lot to cover. Most likely, we're gonna be beginning by taking a look at three different press releases, and from there, we're gonna be progressing to something that's happening potentially in Russia. And from there, we're gonna be progressing and take a look at Europe. We're gonna try to capture biggest sums of money, biggest amounts of money, and we're gonna be trying to take different perspectives into account when taking a look at how money is moving and changing hands, as well as controversial opinions. We're just gonna try to focus on facts other than how we're feeling about this information, if that makes sense. Let's begin. First article is something that was published yesterday. That would be a landmark UK and Germany defense agreement to strengthen our security and prosperity. That might be a lot of opportunities when it comes to finances. I haven't read it, but that might be important, as well as increase in defense spending. In particular, Central Europe is looking to spend a lot when it comes to its defense, and it might be more relevant to Central Europe. Perhaps from Central Europe, other governments can manufacture, and Central Europe can purchase manufacturing goods. I'm not saying I agree with all of that, but it seems that a lot of things are moving this particular way. Anyway, let's take a look at landmark defense agreement will be signed by Defense Secretary, his name is there, and our German Defense Minister in London today in major moment for NATO and European security and prosperity as the first of its kind agreement between UK and North Germany on defense. I have seen a lot of those opportunities, and some of those opportunities would be based on governments. Mainly opportunities that I could find, perhaps there are so many of those, would be UK, Germany, France, and Italy. Only four governments, right? But there might be other opportunities, and perhaps it's something that we're gonna be taking a look at in a minute, where there might be some of the Brazil or other governments as well, but mainly only those governments, right? Let's take a look at this article and let's try to understand it. Anyway, in this article, some of the bullet points after the defense secretary. Let's keep names and our German defense minister. Let's progress. We'll sign the landmark Trinity House agreement today. That will be 23rd, today's date, bringing two nations closer together than ever before. Agreement will boost economy, investments, and create jobs, paving the way for a new artillery gun barrel factory to open in UK. Okay, right. Makes a little bit more sense, perhaps. As of now, some of the businesses based in Germany has very advanced technology as well as capabilities. Most likely, we will be taking a look at distance. Norway is spending a lot in this area as well, by the way. But anyway, German aircraft will be operated from Scotland and all part of agreement bolster European security. Then they're saying aircraft. Most likely in this article, we're going to be taking a look at very particular aircraft, that anti-submarine aircraft, but I haven't read it yet. But anyway, signing of the Trinity House Agreement marked as fundamental shift in UK's relationship with Germany and all European security. This agreement between European two biggest defense spenders will strengthen national security and economic growth in the face of growing Russian aggression and now increasing threats. The new partnership will help drive investment into UK, with the agreement paving the way for a new artillery gun barrel factory to be opened in UK, supporting more than 400 jobs and a nearly £500 million boost for the UK's or British economy. The opening of Rain Metal factory will be seen as the UK manufacturer artillery gun barrels for the first time in 10 years using British steel. Well, this part is very important since UK should consider more and more opportunities where they're gonna put this steel, since a lot of jobs have been lost to overseas governments, something that we were taking a look at previously, which is not they can. Some of those governments they have solar panels, all those kind of areas, as well as most high-tech equipment, and we can manufacture steel very cheaply compared to perhaps, since UK is not investing in this industry. So they need this kind of opportunity. I mean, the UK needs more and more of these opportunities when it comes to steel production. By Sheffield for German masters. Perhaps some of those facilities could be established in Wales, but anyway. The deal will see UK and North Germany work together systematically for years to come on range of groundbreaking defense projects and across all domains: air, land, sea, space, and cyber. I don't know. Perhaps when it comes to defense, we're only focusing on defense, but anyway. This includes working jointly to rapidly develop brand new extended deep strike weapons that can travel further with a more precision than the current systems, including storm shadows. Okay. So there are particular systems, so that would be long-term strategy, right? Perhaps 10-year strategy. It will bring two nations' defense industries closer than ever, including a long-term commitment to manufacture Boxer, something that we were taking a look at. In particular, Baltic countries are purchasing a lot of those, and some of those systems will be manufactured and equipped with a lot of Israeli-made equipment, right? So Boxer, it doesn't really end there, where all the attachments to this platform might come from different partners, right? Armored vehicles. Supporting skilled jobs across UK, the deal also aims to support the expanded complex weapon developments in the UK, laying a part of Stingray torpedoes procurement. Oh, okay. There might be a little bit more the water and all capabilities in water. I haven't paid that much attention, but anyway, let's progress. It's good that they're creating those opportunities, and particularly in some of those areas. We were taking a look at 400 jobs, as well as we can briefly touch on some of those facilities. It's something that would War Master, I believe that's a new facility that's currently been built in the UK, and perhaps that would be center, and from that center there would be a lot of opportunities that will spin out when it comes to upgrading entire equipment or UK's military capabilities in the years to come, and the way how things will span in the different areas, right? I thought it might be important, but anyway, let's progress and let's take a look at next opportunities, right? The next article we can take a look at some of those opportunities when it comes to trade. That would be Trade Secretary launches new fund to unlock multi-billion export boost. Most likely that would be some of those investments, including new 2.3 million regulatory partnership for growth fund, would help unlock export opportunities worth nearly 5 billion for UK companies over 5 years. That would be potentially borrowing money, I guess, in different forms, and there might be some grants as well, not necessarily just loans. Sector like clean energy and all life science set to benefit fund target trade barriers for 300 million in the first year, as well as announcement comes as there's a lot more to it, and that really perhaps only focusing on Brazil, which is, I guess, kind of mildly interesting. But anyway, there's a lot of things happening in the background when it comes to other summits and Brazil's president, and he's getting injured or something. But anyway, let's progress and let's take a look at next article. Right? Next article, we can take a look at infrastructure. That would be some of those initiatives that government is looking to launch. There might be different ways of engaging with something that's called Catapult Connecting Places. They're launching different programs every year. Something that would be called Trick, and where they can look at how to improve some of the infrastructure, and the entire area could be overseen by Department for Transport. If it's something yourself you're interested in, it seems that from the time I begin tracking of developments in this particular area, we're constantly reducing how much finances they're allocating, as well as entire process and how its process would be overseen. So I have very mixed opinions and no feedback, so I rather do not go too much into detail. But it might be great for many people. It's just the way how many opportunities have been carried out, as well as every time when I'm reaching out to the team. Within the contracts, they would put a lot of wording where some of those contracts or opportunities would be created just for 5 people. I don't know if it's good, if it's bad, if opportunities been created for 5 or 6 people only within the contract, and many people interested in those opportunities. Thousands of people would read some of those contracts and they would pretend that it's what they are looking to do. Well, actually, we're looking to create those opportunities just for a handful of companies. It can be a waste of time, but if you or anybody from public is reading it, it might seem like it's a great opportunity. Let's progress. Let's take a look at next article. So that would be different sources and perhaps controversial opinions. But anyway, something that will be published yesterday. The UT borrow or freeze a lot of funds that would most likely be from Russian-based companies. That will be money for Ukraine loan, and the way how after those funds will be frozen would be lended or used, right? But anyway, myself I am interested in, so I'll cover it. We will read just a little bit, and we're gonna progress, and now we'll take a look at rest of the video. We're gonna be taking a look at finances and how to source finances. So it's the only thing that we're gonna be focusing on, where the finance would be coming from. Since just a moment ago we were taking a look at different initiatives, uh, how we can fund those initiatives. That's a different issue, right? So we're only focusing on finances and where finances will be coming from to fund some of those initiatives that we were cover or taking a look at just moments ago, right? And not necessarily that's the way how things are progressing, but most likely that's where some of the funds are coming from. If people like to understand it, that's what we're doing it. Anyway, European Parliament has approved 35 billion or 38 billion, that would be dollars, loan to Ukraine to be repaid with revenues from frozen Russian assets. According to an official statement on Tuesday, the EU froze approximately 210 billion. So this part, since sometimes these numbers can go up by a lot, it sometimes can go up to 300 billion, which I don't know already. I don't know. I'm looking to understand it. So sources where I'm taking this information perhaps would be most accurate information, since that would be Russian-based sources, right? And this is their fund, so most likely it should be accurate. Most likely, but some of those numbers going way up, and I don't know how they counting all this kind of information, all this kind of things. But anyway, 210, okay, that's important information, as well as of now, we most likely take a look at 35 billion. Great, let's progress. Let's take a look at next articles, right? In the next article, we can take a look at something that will be published yesterday. That would be, again, it should be unbiased sources, somewhat unbiased, but anyway. That would be a key to arm Ukraine using Russian money. London plans to lend Kiev some of the 3 billion to be repaid using interest generated from Moscow frozen assets. Since we were taking a look at a lot of defense contracts, as well as perhaps infrastructure projects, all these kind of things, where the finances would be coming from. There's a lot of finances currently that would be made available. They may or may not come from something that would be called frozen assets, right? The UK will provide Ukraine with a 2.2 billion or close to 3 billion in dollars loan for its war efforts against Russian based on cash generated from frozen Russian assets, according to Chancellor. Since there might be a lot of complexity where they would say a lot of aid, that aid would be in terms of hardware, and that hardware could be UK paying to themselves to manufacture that hardware, and that hardware would be given to Ukraine to defend themselves, right? I haven't read the contract, but most likely more. This is something that was happening in the past. Most likely it might happen in the future, right? Not necessarily that it will, but most likely it can, right? Anyway, let's progress. As well as perhaps when it comes to some of the finances that will be made available, that will be energy companies, and since those companies actually who have incur a lot of damages. Anyway, I don't know. From business perspective, that's companies who lost that money. Since the companies who actually lost that money, they might be interested in getting that money back. And that would be 1 billion. They will try, perhaps. There's a process in place. They might seek to receive 1 billion of that finances. But anyway, let's progress. Let's take a look at the next article. Uh, since we're taking a look at a lot of finances and perhaps energy and how that energy would be sold, as well as when energy would be sold, perhaps some of the governments might have a lot of finances to invest, right? Then launching a lot of projects. For people who haven't perhaps done it in the past, there might be a lot of governments who interested in sourcing a lot of finances, right? And part of that, not necessarily limited just to that, that would be perhaps EU's initiative, something that would be called first the EU Gulf Cooperation Council. Gulf, it happened to be having a lot of carbon based energy sources, right, as well as a lot of finances, and something that the EU perhaps looking to offer a partnership and all peace and prosperity, and the EU is looking to launch a council summit with a number of partners and increasing trade, peace, and prosperity while taking a look at different areas. Some of those could be climate change, biodiversity loss, desertification, ocean and land degradation, drought, pollution, and then we are talking about some of those governments. We are talking about, in particular in this summit, we are looking at EU trade relations with the Gulf Cooperation Council, and that would be number of. Perhaps I can share a screenshot of this summit, and most likely that we're only focusing on finances, where finances will be coming from, as well as when it comes to something that we were taking a look at large infrastructure projects, perhaps between Estonia and Finland, and they might be interested in digging under Baltic Sea. There's some of those governments, including Gulf governments, might be interested in financing some of those projects. Would over time, within 10 years, perhaps someone would pay it back to them that finances. If those governments, as of now, they have a lot of finances available. I would say Gulf countries, perhaps that would be a wider area. So I would be interested in understanding what EU has in mind when it's saying Gulf countries. Perhaps what kind of relationships EU has with what governments. Since Yemen is not there, as well as Iraq, and Iran is not to be considered Gulf countries, but I guess, but that would be friendly relationships, perhaps. But anyway, let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.